Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode 19, Mike.
Mm-hmm. I was shocked that we even made it this far, never mind the fact that you reminded me.
Yeah.
This is episode 19.
I am amazed that we have made it this far.
To be fair, I've got it wrong.
Not murdered each other. So.
No, we won't. We might have different set of opinions, but we seem to get on quite well. It's nice.
Generally speaking, that's what mates do. I am Levi Clay, your host, Mike McLaughlin, my co-host of Party Cannon fame. I'm of, no fame, YouTube fame.
Notoriety and infamy.
Yeah, I will go down in infamy. And boy, do we have a fun show today.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be talking about Ticketmaster and Live Nation.
Cunt. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, involved in the scalping scams.
Again. Sorry, excuse me, it's my throat.
We've got Spotify kind of changing up the industry a little bit, allowing anybody to upload music to their service. Which should be interesting. We're going to talk about CD sales going on the up and on the down, or in this case on the down. But there's some other little fun things that we're going to intersperse. There's some Metallica news. We're going to laugh at Avenged Sevenfold. We're going to laugh at Epiphone and Slash. And we are going to actually do a reaction video to Herman Lee playing guitar underwater, apparently, even though he's definitely not. And ISP have got a new pedal coming out. So lots of stuff to talk about. I'll hand it over to you. Where do you want to start?
I just want to say before we even start, anyone who's judging us for doing a reaction video, sorry and not sorry, because when you see the video, you'll laugh. Those who are listening to the podcast probably won't get it.
Well, we prepare in advance and look at all of the stories we're going to be talking about. And we were watching this video and we got a good halfway into it. And we always make this mistake.
Yep.
All of our best conversation happens for some reason before we hit record.
I think that's because we're not accountable for what we say, because we've not got any evidence against what we do say.
Yeah, but this was one of those moments we were watching it and you just turned to me and said, why don't we just watch this on the show? And I'm like, yes. Because we haven't got to the bit where he goes underwater yet. So
sadly.
That yeah, I've got even worse news for you, mate. Apparently he comes back up.
Oh, I don't mean it that way. That's maybe wishing death on the guy's a bit much.
Yeah. So what would you like to start with?
I think we should just dive straight in to Ticketmaster and Live Nation.
The controversial one.
Yes, because I just want to say, while it's still fresh, fuck them.
So what's the story, Mike? What's happened?
Them. So, by the looks of things, as it turns out, they are happily engaging with and almost recruiting scalpers to pretty much double their own money and giving people incentive to resell at ridiculous prices, which no one's surprised by, but everyone is fucking disgusted by. Which is, it's true. It's shit. Everybody knows how badly Ticketmaster overprices things in terms of even their own service charges, etc., on top of tickets. But for it to now be the case that they are pretty much, it's recruiting, isn't it? That like they were recruiting people at a business show of some kind.
Yeah, it's hard to get the full details on that. I read it more as scalpers kind of talking to the secondary selling sites and asking, are there, is this a conflict? Is this a problem? And essentially being told, oh no, this stuff happens all the time. We have people in your position that have 100 accounts with us. So yeah, it happens. It's not going to be a problem, basically.
That's more than it happens and we turn a blind eye. That's actual advocacy.
Yeah.
And that shit isn't cricket. That's a shame for the fans who struggle to afford tickets in the first place.
Yeah, I've always taken issue with, there's a clear conflict of interests. If you own a company that sells tickets, you shouldn't also own a market where people can sell tickets secondhand, because then it encourages this exact thing. The resale of tickets, it's something that you want to be afforded as somebody that purchases a ticket to an event, but it does so much damage for the market and value of tickets to be able to turn a profit on tickets. I think we've mentioned this in the past, or at least suggested it. I would be more than happy to see some sort of legislation come in to make it illegal to sell tickets above face value.
Well, we have spoke about it. Remember, we were talking about Ed Sheeran doing his part to stop or try and stop there being scalping, where it would be, you buy the ticket, you can only resell through this site if you want to, and you must have ID to verify that it's your ticket. Otherwise, it's not valid.
Yeah.
it's pretty good. I think we also spoke about something else to do with Ticketmaster being allegedly involved in other scalping practices potentially before, but that might be me misremembering. Certainly not something that I've just heard about that as a business practice of theirs.
So when this news dropped, you said, shall we try and organise some sort of boycott of Ticketmaster?
I think it's fucking the only way really to tackle it is voting with your wallet.
Yeah, and
Let the scalpers buy the tickets and then lose all their fucking money.
But therein is the solution to me, because Ticketmaster, they don't quite have a monopoly. There were a lot of people suggesting, like, this is what happens when monopolies form. Ticketmaster don't quite have a monopoly. There are other places that you can buy tickets from. They're obviously the biggest.
Yeah. And being partnered with Live Nation doesn't help any either, because obviously they book the acts that Ticketmaster want to sell tickets for.
To me, it's not rocket science, right? Stop. I'm going to place the blame very firmly on customers here.
Mm-hmm.
Stop buying tickets for overinflated prices. Stop paying above the face value of a ticket. It's already fucking disgusting that they put, I don't know, a £15 service fee.
It basically works out that way, yeah.
On a ticket. But to organise a boycott of Ticketmaster would not necessarily hurt Ticketmaster. I mean, sure, it would hurt Ticketmaster. It's going to hurt the artist as well.
Sadly, that's true, but any artist who understands the value in not constantly having their tickets resold probably will understand that that is a necessary evil to start with.
Yeah.
I know that's shit and it's taking money out of people's fucking pockets and food off people's tables. I don't mean it that way. That's a justified thing, but that is really the only action that the consumer has against Ticketmaster directly. Not against the resale sites, but Ticketmaster and Live Nation themselves.
Well, that's the problem. You're talking about a larger company hurting a larger company, and it's just the evidence suggests that we have no way to get back at them, and that evidence is the fact that we pay more than face value for tickets. People pay more than face value for tickets. While we still have that mentality, this gig is sold out. Oh no, I can't go. Let me just see how much more I can pay in order to get myself in from a website aptly named "Get Me In."
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that, I have to be there.
Fuckers.
Yeah, it's I absolutely hate it. It's one of my biggest peeves of the music industry, because, and we're going to talk about this shortly, but the music industry is an ever-changing thing, and it's harder and harder to make money. And people are always talking about, oh, you don't make money on albums anymore. You have to go out and tour to make money. Like, well, that's being taken away from you as well. It's harder. Yeah. It's becoming harder and harder to make money. Gig tickets are becoming more expensive, and then you'd think that gig tickets being more expensive would mean fewer people go to gigs, and I think that may potentially be the case in certain examples. But yeah, people not going to gigs is one thing. Tickets already too expensive for gigs. You want to go see Ed Sheeran, like, tickets are already too expensive for Ed Sheeran. I saw one of my friends, one of the friends of the show actually, Connor, the great beater of burglars, Connor, the man, the legend. He's selling an Arctic Monkeys ticket for €70. 70. That's a lot of money to go and see a band.
Mm-hmm.
€70. And if that gig is sold out, and I'm sure it probably is, I imagine people are willing to pay considerably more than that just to get in. It's a terrible mentality, and I wish it was something that we could address. I wish, as a society, we could band together and unionize again. But yeah, fight the capitalism. Fight the socialism. Fight both.
Just fucking fight.
Just use some fucking common sense. Basically, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
We're going to see Tesseract soon, right?
Yes.
Tickets have showed up for that, and I think they probably came from Ticketmaster. Cool. But you know that I got up very early in order to secure tickets for that gig.
Yes, you did. Because you were determined you were going.
I was determined I was going, and what you can take from that is, if I didn't get those tickets, I wasn't going. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to Ozzy Osbourne because tickets, I can't justify that cost. The money's there, not a problem, but morally, it's too much.
Yeah, you're voting with your wallet. The
Yes.
right way to do it.
And if I change my mind, it's not an option because the gig's sold out. Plenty of tickets available on Ticket, Get Me In, StubHub, and all of these places.
Scalpwank.com.
Yeah, not fucking interested. So have some common sense, have some self-control, people.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
I don't disagree with you. but I don't think it addresses the real culprit who's responsible, sadly.
The person responsible is capitalism.
It's not a person, I'm afraid.
Well, neither is Ticketmaster or Live Nation. It's an entity.
They are, but in the eyes of the law, they will be treated as a person in terms of rights.
Okay.
So we'll say that they have a straw man. The straw man being Mr. A. Bellend.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress. Anyway,
yeah, disgusting.
Ticketmaster.
It is disgusting. But as angry as I am with this as a situation, it's not going to stop me going to Ticketmaster. It's just not. They're scumbags, but ultimately they're just middlemen that get me access to the gigs that I want to go see. I really want to go see Tesseract, so
yeah, I think I'd rather buy tickets from other people, but I know what you mean. But then we fall into the same fucking problem as everyone else. Like, you're letting desire control your common sense. I need to be at that gig, therefore I need to buy tickets to this vendor, when that vendor's the person that you don't want to buy tickets from.
Oh no, ideally I'm going to go to another vendor, of course, but if Ticketmaster is the only vendor, I don't let that actually cloud my judgment, because there have been many examples of gigs that I wanted to go to. I've had the tickets in my basket and then I've come to pay for them, and I've just, on principle, no, not that service charge.
Yeah.
No,
like
just
double the cost of the ticket and shit. I know, it's fucking outrageous.
Absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah. I like that they've essentially been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, though.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Absolute scumbags.
And the sooner something's done about it, the better. However,
it's also people, though, not customers. The scalpers themselves. People that go, I know how I can make some money. I've got a bunch of money here. I'm going to use that to buy a bunch of tickets and then prey off people that really want to go and see an event.
Oh, definitely. That stuff is shit.
Ticketmaster win no matter what. They've sold the ticket the first time round. They've sold the service charge.
Yep.
The only person you're really going to beat here is that scalper mentality of, cool, I've got 10 accounts, I'm going to buy 10 tickets with each of these 10 accounts, that's my profits for the month. Absolutely disgusting. And I hope, it does happen from time to time. You see it happen in the video game industry, something we talked about recently, with things like when Nintendo released the NES Classic or NES Mini, depending on region you're in, they were pretty limited. So if you happened to get one of those, that was worth, you could easily flip that and make some money.
I remember people like losing their shit about the idea of getting one, and you're right, like seeing them on Gumtree or the Facebook Marketplace and it being like 3 times the price.
Yeah.
Did the same not happen with the Switch actually at Christmas time?
Yes.
People were like selling them for unbelievable amounts of money.
Generally speaking, that's the Nintendo way, isn't it? Undersupply. But they didn't with the SNES or the SNES Mini. They were readily available. You could get those, but plenty of people were going out and buying as many of them as they possibly could, and then they were just unable to sell them. So it's always nice when you see the scalpers, get their comeuppance.
Definitely.
So should we do a fun story, or should we continue on with the heaviness?
Let's have a shit sandwich. Let's get something fun in the middle.
That's not fun. That's not fun. I'll tell you what. Let's talk about Slash.
Yes, let's talk about Slash and Epiphone.
Slash and Epiphone. In fact, I could just bring this up. We can just react to this.
Let's do it.
We can talk about this.
Let's do it.
Let me just make sure this is all. There we go.
Tickety-boo. Ooh. Straight from
So the
YouTube.
story is Slash is releasing an Epiphone Firebird
signature limited, 900 to the standard version and 100 to the premium version, a premium package, whatever it was it said there.
What in terms of numbers was that? Okay,
Click back out and you'll see.
I missed that. That means clicking back out. Don't really think of Slash as being a Firebird kind of guy, though.
Nope. It does say limited edition as well, which something neither has picked up on the first view, unfortunately. Regardless, it's pretty fun.
What you generally speaking, Slash, we think a Les Paul.
Infinitely. Maybe the Mockingbird.
Yeah, Mockingbird at a push.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The Firebird design has always been attractive to me.
That's why you've played them all your life.
Yeah, Firebird design always attractive to you.
That's it. Endorsements and money have always been attractive to me.
The Firebird is a cool guitar, though, right?
In the right hands, in the right design, yes.
I think of like Leonard Skinner.
The first band I ever saw where one of them was playing a Firebird that like live that I was like, that's fucking cool, was Priestess, actually. It downloaded like 2007 or something. And their guitarist was playing like an old beat up one, with this big giant case for it, but he was like beating the shit out of it and it sounded great.
They're cool because they have a unique look and they have a unique sound.
Okay.
We'll come on to that.
I see where you're getting at.
From
okay.
a sonic point of view, they're set up to be very different than the kind of thing that I do with
I really appreciate that he's actually just come in and confirmed that exact point there. That from a sonic point of view, they are set up to do something completely different from what Slash does. And yeah, it's the Firebird sound, much like we talked about the SG when we did the Gibson video.
Yeah.
The SG just sounds the way an SG does. So the Firebird, yeah, it's different. It's just a totally different sound. And you'd expect a totally different sound, right? It's got mini humbuckers in it. Mm-hmm. Mini humbuckers.
A big, unusual shaped slab of wood as well, usually.
Yeah.
Les Paul. So I've had a lot of trial and error and experimentation with lots of different Firebirds over the years.
Not to the point where he's ever decided to play one.
Mm-hmm.
I finally
there's a good point for that.
got a chance to work with that.
Yeah, why do you think it is he probably didn't decide to... Oh, look at that fretboard. Someone get that Rosewood a drink.
That's fucking dehydrated, man.
Yeah, so what do we think? What do we think he went with to get that, like, you know, exploit the sound of the Firebird?
Phone to do one that was more to my specs. We have a mahogany body and a
Sorry, what?
and a maple
What
cap
aspect?
A
and
maple cap?
humbucking pickups.
Oh, humbucking pickups. A mahogany body, a maple cap, humbucking pickups.
Not just any humbucking pickups.
Slash's humbucking pickups.
Seymour Duncan / signature humbucking pickups.
So it's basically a Les Paul you got there. Slash.
Oh no, it gets better.
Oh yeah,
It hasn't
it
mentioned
does.
just yet.
The balance is different. The neck is longer, you know, relative to the entirely different body shape and a different scale and so on.
Definitely not an entirely different body shape.
Yeah.
But the different scale.
So initially we'd watched that and he mentioned different scale, right? But there he said the neck is longer, so I thought maybe we misinterpreted him. But because of the length of the headstock, the neck itself is longer. But no, he does go on to say that, you know, the longer scale.
Mm-hmm.
The longer scale. I mean, we checked the specs to this, and it's 24.75. So
What other guitars are 24.75 inch scale, Levi?
I think it's a pretty unique concept.
Yeah. I mean, I think you might be wrong. I've got this horrible women's intuition niggling feeling in my stomach that's the same as a Les Paul.
I think Slash has played a few guitars with that scale.
He might prefer that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a signature model, but maybe.
Yeah. See what else he says.
It has a great humbucker sound, but it has a very unique tone unto itself, just based on the thickness of the wood. It sounds great and it sounds unique, which is...
You said unique twice.
The shit that people say in order to sell stuff, it just never... It
Changes.
never ceases to amaze me.
It never changes. It's the same fucking sentences, isn't it?
I want to do like a Kieran style meme video. Well, it's actually less Kieran. I'm trying to think of like Jared Dines does the sort of things that all gent kids say.
Yeah,
and things like that. I want to do like a pedal review of the things that are, you know, it's just so transparent.
True bypass.
Yeah, it's
buffered.
And it just cleans up so well when you roll. I've
Silent
never seen
switch.
a single distortion pedal that wasn't extremely transparent and didn't clean up extremely well when you roll off the game.
Which is exactly what you want in a distortion pedal.
Yeah.
I can't wait to distort my tone so that I can roll the volume back and clean it up.
is really what I'm looking for. The thing about this guitar for me is it's a real accomplishment because I've been wanting to have a Firebird that really functions for me. I mean, I figure if it stands up to me, it'll
Good cut there. Great cut there.
figure if it stands up to me, it'll stand up to me. I mean, I figure if it stands up to me, it'll stand up to most anybody.
If it stands up to me, it'll stand up to most anybody.
So there we go. Slash's Epiphone Firebird. I mean, we've made all the comments that need to be made there. It's a funny one. Mid-priced signature guitar. You pointed out that it's how much cost-wise?
Premium outfit clocks at $1,199 and the standard Firebird goes for $899.
And the
there's only
difference
1,000
between
of them.
those two things looks like
One's got a case and a strap.
and a case.
So $300 for a case and a strap. $200, sorry, for a case and a strap.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Like cost-wise, it's not. If you're a Slash fan, I get it. I think it's priced right
$900 for an Epiphone. You think it's priced right?
for a Slash fan. Yeah, you'd like it's a $600 guitar with someone's name on it.
True. I mean, it's the same people that would buy the crazy Guns N' Roses box set we're talking about.
Yeah.
So aye, fair enough. But
yeah, I saw Slash recently, as we all know, and I didn't see any Firebirds on stage.
What was he playing? Was it Les Pauls by any chance?
He was playing something that may have been a Les Paul. It certainly looked like a Les Paul from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
But evidently I've got everything about Slash wrong, and he's really been into Firebirds all this time. So I could be wrong on that one.
That's it.
Could totally be wrong. So there we go. That was a fun little interlude, and I like that we managed to do the live react to his video, and that will instantly get this video a copyright strike. So, yes. Cool. So let's talk about Spotify.
Let's talk about Spotify. So, by the looks of things, Spotify are now obviously trying to shake up the market a little bit and pretty much put the distribution control of your music as an independent artist or even unsigned into your hands and let you upload your music to their site and their app, and obviously then to pretty much every person in the world who's got a connected device to the internet for free. Whereas usually you would pay someone to list everything through DistroKid, CD Baby, blah, blah, blah. And then you would also get them onto Google Play Music, you said Deezer, Spotify, blah, blah, blah. They're now just going direct to source and basically saying, come on board, come and play. And my first question to Levi was on this, how then are they going to manage to pay people their royalties? But it seems to be quite simple.
Yeah, when we say seems, like the stories that we've read about this are presenting it as though it's something that's happened. This is something that has happened. Mm-hmm. Whereas in reality, it's something that they are starting to play with as an idea. They have a beta invite system for like 200 artists that they are trialing this with. Mm-hmm. So there will be kinks to be ironed out. But in theory, what is being suggested is that you would log into Spotify in your artist portal, and that essentially would keep track of royalties and things. Articles point out the novelty of not charging artists for this service, which is nice, but who knows what that means. Like, they need to make their money somewhere.
But of course they will. Subscribers, that's where they're making all the money. It's a very clever business model.
Will they be taking a bigger share of the royalty though, because you're distributed by Spotify?
That's a very good question. I mean, can you rip knickers off a bare arse? Can you take any more when there's nothing more to give?
It's worth pointing out, like, I have albums on Spotify under both Hellcat Molly and Levi Clay. Those were distributed to Spotify via Ditto Music, mm-hmm. which I paid a one-off fee for.
Mm-hmm. As most of them do at the moment.
Yeah.
So it usually works.
And I set up my own record label via that. So technically, those were released on Ruby Weapon Records. Yeah. Ruby Weapon is not even on the wall anymore.
I was just going to say, where the fuck is she?
Just over there.
That's okay then.
Yeah. So I did that, and that was a cost involved in doing that. And also, even just hosting this podcast, mm-hmm. that goes up on SoundCloud. You may be listening on SoundCloud. If you're not listening on SoundCloud, if you're listening via, I don't know, Apple, like the app or whatever, that's an RSS feed which is just delivered via SoundCloud anyway. Mm-hmm. So we get all of our stats in one place. And again, that's, I think, £70 for the year. So there is a cost to the distribution of music, and that would make sense because the company that is distributing it has to store it, and they have to actually give this data to people when they request it, essentially.
Of course, yeah. So they need to pay for their own bandwidth.
Yeah. I was trying to do layman's terms, Mike, because laymen probably listen to this podcast. Yeah, so it seems strange.
Alienated the full crowd by calling everyone laymans. Yeah. Or laymen.
There's nothing wrong with laymen, is there?
No, you're true. Yeah. It's better than fucking posers.
Yeah. In theory, I just can't see how Spotify, what's the incentive to them here?
The incentive is selling more subscriptions.
But is the fact that Levi Clay's music on Spotify going to encourage people to subscribe in the same way that, and I can't think of any of the artists now actually, mm-hmm. but I remember when was it Tidal? Is that Jay-Z? Yeah, that bombed. But there were some exclusive albums on that, weren't there?
Yeah, I think Kanye West and potentially one of Beyonce's and things like that were exclusive.
Yeah, and that's a reason that you might go, oh, I'd sign up there. So Spotify having me on there is not nearly as appealing as having Ed Sheeran or whoever.
But you're missing the point. Spotify are already out there as one of the biggest players to then basically say we're supporting small artists to make them money and make it more convenient for you to listen to anything from Ed Sheeran to I don't know, some random grindcore band from Estonia or some Finnish pop sensation that no one knows about. Then they're already big. They don't have anything to lose by adding that support for everyone else.
Here's where my skepticism jumps in, right? So Spotify are constantly trying to in my opinion, this could potentially be a tax dodge. Spotify are constantly saying that as a business, they don't make money.
Of course they don't.
Yeah.
I think what they mean is that the artists who use their service don't make money.
This just seems like another thing that would eat your profits.
You might be right. This is all speculation, obviously, for anyone who's listening and thinks it should sue us. But you might be right. I never thought of it from that angle. It'd be a very dangerous way to play that, I think.
I mean, anyone that's self-employed does it. I keep buying stuff for this new pedal board, and like I'm going to be doing videos on that. Therefore, it's all just an expense. It's not. I'm not in it for I'm lucky that my job is also my leisure and my thing that I enjoy.
Passion.
So business expenses don't annoy me the same way as if I was a hairdresser and I needed to get a new set of clippers or whatever. So let me ask you a question. Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think that the free and easy distribution of music is a good thing?
If artists were being represented and paid correctly, then I would. But in this current iteration, no. I think this is the modern sentence, or the equivalent of what you hear about live gigs of exposure. It will get you exposure. That might suit some people. It probably won't for the majority, especially thinking you've put all that hard work and passion into writing music, recording it, making sure it's mixed and mastered, and then putting it out there for the world for someone else to profit on. But that's going to happen anyway. So I don't know. I don't think it's intrinsically good, but I don't think it's intrinsically bad either. I think it's just business.
I think, and maybe this is me going, old man about things. I look back to when I was a kid, when releasing music wasn't an easy thing to do.
Yes.
Therefore, when you found music that was released, chances are it was probably going to be worth my time.
Do you think that the ease of publication means there's less quality?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I put a lot of money into my album to make it sound as good as it did. I could have released something and not spend that money, and it would have been dreadful. It would not have contributed anything musically to anything. It would have just been there as an ego thing. And I mean, it's releasing music under your own name, it's an ego thing anyway, right? But
releasing any music you write, it's an ego thing.
There's so much. It's easy for me to record and release music now, but it also means it's very easy for my competitors to record and release music now, which makes the entire thing, not from our perspective, but from the listener's perspective, overwhelming.
Do you mean like option paralysis overwhelming? Like there's so much for you. I get that. It's almost like when you put Netflix on and you're like, what should I watch? And then you'll go through 700 films, and it might be about 100 that you wanted to watch, but you're constantly just, what's the next?
I really like that as an example, though, because Netflix is a curated list of content. The actual example is YouTube.
Okay.
Netflix, great, because everything that's on Netflix has been chosen to be there by somebody. So although there is a lot of content on Netflix, it's not like going through YouTube.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
There's just endless fucking content on YouTube, and I've kind of defeated my own argument because I love YouTube, but that's because I have spent the years wading through all the shit.
Yeah.
trying to find the content creators that I really enjoy. Not everyone has the time to do that, and that
True.
to me in music is the most daunting aspect of music, because it's incredibly easy for anyone to record and release music, and in better quality than they ever used to be able to.
Very true, yeah.
You have to wade through a lot of, I'm not even going to say a load of shit, you have to wade through a lot of mediocre content in order to find the hidden gems of stuff that stands out. In that respect, having a label is still, it still gives you the leg up, because it immediately tells any potential listeners, oh, someone else in the industry in the know thought that this was worth their time.
Right, cool. So you think that the vetting process of music is not an essential thing, but a positive at least? I agree with you. It
can help. It can help the listener.
Yeah.
I found a lot of really cool music that I never would have heard of otherwise. I'm not saying it's all bad. There's totally pros and cons to both sides. And the thing is, once Pandora's box is open, there's no closing it. So yeah,
the box.
We could talk about this more. I'm sure we could talk about this more. But I've said Pandora's box, right? And I've got another story queued up here that is going to allow me to talk about Pandora's box.
And segue straight in it.
Yeah, and it allows us to be fun. So speaking of Pandora's box, remember when piracy was really popular? Mm-hmm. And remember there was a band that thought, rather than moving with the times, let's try and close the lid of the box. Let's try and sue our fans.
Like shoot at the internet.
Yeah. Remember?
Stop it!
Remember Metallica? I think they kind of faded away into obscurity. Yeah,
I've not heard of them.
Yeah. No, so they've just broken another record, and this will tie really nicely in with that final story that I've got written up there. But they've just announced a European and UK arena tour, I think, as well. So it all ties very nicely together.
Yeah,
get your tickets on Ticketmaster right now.
Yes. Just don't pay any service fees.
Yeah. So Metallica's Black Album breaking more records.
It's fucking. So what's this? It scored its 500th non-consecutive week on the Billboard 200 chart. Now one of only 4 albums with 500 weeks or more on the tally, which is up beside Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, Bob Marley and the Wailers' Legend, The Best of Bob Marley and the Wailers, which is a cop-out, and Journey's Greatest Hits, which is also a cop-out. So really, it's only Metallica and Pink Floyd that should be up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Fair point.
Not to say that the albums and songs don't have value, but
I'm just fascinated that on that list, and actually more successful than the Black Album in terms of Billboard 200 chart, non-consecutive weeks of being on there. Journey.
Don't Stop Believing.
I've seen Journey live actually, and they were pretty good.
I heard a story about them finding a replacement vocalist on YouTube.
Arnel Pineda was singing for them. Pineda? I forget.
Whoever it was that took over from the lead vocalist, apparently, and this might be total bullshit, but from what I heard, they found a video of him singing Journey songs, karaoke or something, like on YouTube, and we're like, okay, that's the guy for the job.
And again, to go full circle with the argument of me saying that it's not like Netflix, it's more like YouTube, and somebody actually landing a good gig out of that. Maybe Spotify, everybody having our music on Spotify is what's going to help people find gigs. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe. It's a little callback there.
Just to put a wee span on your works, surely the YouTube affiliates program, your channel then actually being like monetized, etc., is that vetting process, because these are the people who seem to get further ahead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, fair. But I imagine, assuming it's Arnel, is he Filipino?
I think so.
Yeah, potentially. Could be wrong on that. That will anger a lot of people if I got that wrong. I'm not. What you can take from this is I'm not a huge Journey fan. I didn't go to the gig because I wanted to go and see Journey. One of my friends was going and they got me a ticket, and I was like, yeah, cool, I'll come down. Anyway, what were you saying? Who knows? Let's move on from Journey. We're
talking about how YouTube having like the affiliates system is almost like a vetting process in the same way that Netflix has a vetting process for what goes onto their content. But you've got the best of both in that.
Yeah, well, now with to to become a YouTube partner, you just have to have over 1,000 subscribers, which, to be fair, is not an easy achievement.
That's my point. You would still have some.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you're good though to get 1,000 subscribers.
It doesn't, but it's a merit of at least you are entertaining to some degree.
YouTube channel.
Huh?
PewDiePie is the biggest YouTube channel.
Yeah.
His content is dire.
I don't know how he's still online after all the scandals.
Because to reference one of our friends, you can't spank the dank. It's the thing about YouTube is it's a young person's thing. The people that watch YouTube are kids and have been doing so since the age of 6. So when they watch Logan Paul,
I think I was 11 when YouTube came out, and I remember it being like, you can watch videos online.
You don't have to download them
and
on
you went
Kazaa.
on. There was nothing. It was shit. It was fucking nothing. But you still spent hours on it going, I can't believe I can watch this video. And you'd spend about 40 minutes buffering something to watch this terrible animation that someone made and go, I should just watch the Flash version on Albino Black Sheep. That was my impression of YouTube to start with. And then it got much better. Remember how ugly YouTube was?
Yeah.
The YouTube player was fucking ghastly. For those of you who don't remember, please go and Google it.
Just generally speaking, though, do you remember how? You probably don't, because you just move with the times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how ugly everything on the internet was then?
Oh, I think is it the Wayback Machine's the name of the website. You can go in and you can go back to previous sites. Oh, fucking hell!
Yeah. My website still looks dreadful like that.
You need to get a Wix account, son. Sponsor us.
Yeah. I'm with Weebly.
Weebly,
and have been for a very long time, but still, it's building and maintaining a website is a pain in the ass.
Oh, the closest I ever got to that was adding HTML code to my fucking MySpace account. That was the closest I got, so I could embed music in it.
Yeah. Change the colours of your.
That's it.
So
cool.
I'll continue with this.
Please.
So Metallica became the first album to sell 16 million copies since Nielsen's SoundScan started tracking sales in 1991. Today, the Black Album has shifted 16.83 million units in the US. So it's a huge seller, isn't it?
In the US only, that is a lot of numbers.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
And we see a lot of names here like Shania Twain and things like that. And this ties back to when we were talking about Michael Jackson's Thriller being dethroned. It was Jackson's Thriller, wasn't it? Being dethroned as the best-selling album of all time. Yeah. For the Eagles' greatest hits. Yeah,
and that's when we said it should not be because that is a fucking cop-out.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. So I don't know if I agreed with you at the time, but I definitely do now. Like,
Pink
can't say someone who's compiled the best songs from 10 albums should really be compared to one album of songs.
Yeah.
It's just not fair. It's not even playing field.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted again.
But they've got a long way to go if they're going to catch up to Pink Floyd, who are at 937 weeks. So Dark Side of the Moon. And we're going to be doing some Dark Side of the Moon related content just shortly, aren't we?
Apparently so. I don't really know anything about it. You just told me that I need to make noises.
Yeah, I'll read the email again. So this ties on just kind of nicely to this CD sales being down. CD sales down 41%.
That is a big number.
Yeah. So, and that, like, when you say 41%, what's relevant there is how long a period of time.
Yeah.
Is that 41% since compared to 1970? No, that's 41% compared to the same period in 2017. So
2 years, big ass fucking drops.
CD sales are on a dramatic decline.
I mean, there's a lot of music retail stores are now shut though. Like, you used to have Virgin Music and I think FOP are still going, but you had way more of them on the main street. HMV, all of these shops are massive.
And when you go into them now, it's
Baron?
Funko Pop figures.
Aye, that's it. You can buy shit t-shirts in maybe a handful of 100 random vinyls they've decided to bring out obscurely, and then DVDs.
Yeah. So continuing reading this, we got vinyl sales are up.
Just before we go any further, they still sell posters. Who the fuck buys posters in 2018? Sorry to get a bit confused here, but like, posters?
You say that, but there are some notable YouTubers that you can watch, and you look in their background, and they've got fucking like cutouts from Total Guitar magazine on the fucking wall. Like, that tells you something, doesn't it? Actually, when you think about it, they've been there for the last 15 years, haven't they? That's still the bedroom in your mum's house, isn't it?
To be fair, when my man cave is done, I'm probably going to buy a lot of really, really shit magazines and posters and make some sort of really bad collage for us to film behind, so or in front of rather. So maybe I'll take that wee judgment right back there.
I'm with you. Who buys posters? Fucking hate them. Get artwork. That's
buy some Disney prints.
I know. So vinyl sales are on the up by 13%, which
That's
is
cool.
Not a lot. I mean, it's cool, but here's where percentages can be quite misleading. 13% up on 100 sales is not a lot. I still don't.
41% down on 100 million.
Yeah,
different fucking ball games completely. I think the big thing with the vinyl at the moment is the collector's standpoint, because there's so many albums coming out and random picture disc or coloured vinyl, or I've even seen a few where it's like coloured gel inside the disc or inside the vinyl, sorry, so when it moves it like changes shape. Wow. the pattern in it. I think there's a big collector's market about to really emerge in the music scene that's been there for a while but is starting to really gain traction again now normally.
Get a bit of popularity.
Definitely.
Hopefully. Anything that gets people spending money is good in my books.
Oh, definitely. Otherwise we don't have an economy.
Yeah. So this goes on to say the increase wasn't enough to offset the overall decline in physical media. This is the really interesting part. Digital downloads were also down.
Of course they are, because you've got streaming sites.
Streaming revenue jumped 33%.
But they don't make money.
Half year over half
But
year.
they don't make money.
Yeah.
Wait till I just jump in my McLaren P1. Oh, I've only got it for the day. My Lambo comes back tomorrow. And then I'll get in the Bugatti the next day. But we don't make money.
Yeah, we talk about this like often. It's just astonishing to me. They're coming in and they're taking the place of record labels, streaming services, taking the place of record labels.
Pretty much.
Cool. And they basically just give the product away for free. It's just imagine.
The hardest part about that is that we kind of did that to ourselves. Everyone wanted to jump on the bandwagon of look how available it is without realising, well, making it readily available for almost nothing means that there's almost nothing for anyone to split.
Yep.
To get back from that art.
Yeah.
And that's where, to go back to the same thing we talk about every single episode, smart business and music has to prevail. You need to find other revenue streams. There needs to be something else that puts money in your pocket, even if it's just to offset the cost of people taking your music and taking advantage of the fact your music is easier to obtain and allow you to keep that.
So many good
sustained.
ways to do it. Like, you're in a band with a fan base, get yourselves on Patreon.
You'd be surprised the amount of people who are like really object to that.
What, you mean artists?
Yes.
Yeah, that's people that just don't see smart business. Offer your fans the chance to support you for $2 a month. That's 1/5 of the cost of their Spotify.
I think I'm going to start a Patreon and just start sending dick pics. Anyone who's given more than $20, you'll get a shot at this knob.
Yeah.
It's not impressive. It's probably quite gross, but in the interest of science and capitalism at the same time.
If you're a band like Avenged Sevenfold, and you've got millions of fans, all giving you $2 in exchange for one song a month,
you should live stream yourselves jumping into a rocket and flying onto the moon. I would pay every penny I own to watch that.
Yeah. I mean, jokes aside, though.
Sorry, continue.
Jokes aside, move with the times, and as you said, it's about being smart and just trying to do something different.
Yeah.
Connect with your fans in a new and novel way.
Definitely. There's always ways to bring money in and to offer things to your fans. So,
in theory,
I mean, the business model for Party Cannon generally is come to the gigs and buy our merch,
have a good time,
and we try and make the merch as enticing as possible for anybody, really, because you don't need to listen to death metal to have a picture of like a fucking massive dinosaur breaking through a party and the 5 years in the band running away from it and shit. Like that stuff generally sells itself because it's just.
I always tell people how much I hate Party Cannon. That's like a big part of my daily routine. I wake up in the morning, turn to
Straight
my wife.
to Twitter. Fuck Party Cannon.
Turn to my wife and say, "Still hate Party Cannon." No. But my the radio is it the Radioactive Shark? Is that what that shirt's called? Radioactive Shark. It's a shark. He's got fucking arms and muscles.
Oh, and he's holding a big keg in the ball. Yeah.
I just assume you call that the Radioactive Shark.
I mean,
As soon as that T-shirt got announced, I was like, well, I need one of those.
It's not a street shark for anyone who's worried in terms of copyrights and protections. Same as the big dinosaur is not Reptar, and the dog is definitely not Courage.
Yeah. I'm going to skip over this story as fast as humanly possible. Avenged
Thanks,
Sevenfold issued a new mix of Mad Hatter after fans complained. Basically, they released their song, and it was so compressed that there was loads of distortion present, and the fans hated the mix. So Avenged Sevenfold have reissued it and given a new download link. And I think this says a lot about a band, actually. One, that you let that happen in the first place. I mean, I've not listened to the original mix. It must have been bad if the average Avenged Sevenfold fan can hear that there's something that sounds like shit about it.
Yeah, I think it's called a band.
Yeah.
Some just
I didn't check this, actually. M Shadows did release a better sounding version of the song. Maybe it's just an entirely different band.
Maybe. I think it's just silence for 4.5 minutes. Oh, that sounds well better. Like, oh, the mix is so much better. That's not fair. I mean, like, I get the point in that as well, though. Like, how can that have slipped through the net? And it's not. I don't mean just for any band, but Avenged Sevenfold seem to be quite fucking big.
Oh, they headlined download. Like, that's.
I mean, the money they must have got from that is staggering, and that's not like a one-off gig for them. They do a lot of big shows and they have a large following. How can you fuck something up that bad?
Yeah.
But it's even better that the band had to basically take personal responsibility and be like, we fucked up, here's a better version. It's not. No one else has even came forward and said, well, actually, it was released by the record label before we even gave it the go-ahead.
Yep.
Surely one of them heard that and went, what the fuck? What is going on here? I mean, that just adds to... It just gives me ammunition when I talk about how invalid they are as a band. Personally, I think that, again, personal opinion, they're a boy band with electric guitars.
This makes me so happy.
Because you love them.
No, I don't at all. They were a download and I avoided watching them. So.
Oh, okay. I thought you were into them for some reason.
No.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. So ISP, the creators of the very popular Decimator.
The best noise gate in the market, no matter what Levi says.
I mean, it's just not, is it? It's just not. It was. There was a period where it was the popular one to go for, and then Fortin released the Zool, and everyone's raving about the Zool. That's all people want.
Right, okay, I take back my statement. The Zool seems to be fucking lethal, to be fair.
And why is it lethal, though? Because it's got that key input in it.
Yep.
And what already does all of those things and more? The TC Electronics Sentry.
It doesn't do the same as the Zool.
It literally does. It's got a loop in it, a secondary loop. So I'm running my Sentry both in front of and in the loop of my amp. It's in both places.
And you can control both independently?
It's not a case of like noise is noise. It means that you can lower the threshold of noise actually below the noise floor, below what your standard noise floor would be, which on a single knob noise gate like the Decimator or the Zool that's what you've got. You've just got a threshold. You can lower it below the noise threshold because it's reading the signal in two places.
So surely that would then be gating more than it should?
No, it's gating the right amount. It's gating based on the input signal, but it's gating in the place you want it to do the gating, which it's clever. It's very clever. Factor in their tone print. Yeah, they do tone prints for the Sentry. I don't fuck around with those, but the fact that you can go into the software and customize every parameter of your noise gate to gate out just certain frequencies, like you play single coils and you get that 60 cycle hum, and you just want to get rid of just that. Cool, job done.
Just use humbuckers and don't be a fucking gimp.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's all great, and if you're incredibly anal on how the sound you want, especially when you're like for yourself building a pedal board that's all bespoke pedals, make your own cables, etc. You want that to be perfect. You know why I think the Decimator's perfect? Because you literally switch it on and turn the knob up till everything stops screeching, and you can control that very easily, and you just go for it.
Yep.
But that's for me. I make a lot of fucking noise. I don't really need anything.
You don't need a gate.
Well, I do. You'd be surprised.
What have you got on your board?
My pedal board is it's fucking meat and potatoes, really. I don't have meat and potatoes on my board. I have the ISP decimator original. I have a MXR GTOD as a boost. I have a Digitech TL6 tuner, polyphonic tuner, and my wireless, and that's me.
I was going to reel off all the pedals on my board, but
We'll
we'll
be
be
run
here
out of
for an
fucking
hour.
data in your hard drive for recording.
So yeah, ISP are releasing a Decimate, which is it's a small version. It's a mini version.
Seems to be quite a common thing at the moment. The small factor pedals coming out, and there's a few really cool ones, and there's some very cheap ones as well.
Yep. I don't think it's got any information available from October. So yeah, cool. I thought it was worth mentioning just because noise gate's something that people do talk about, especially as I mentioned with the only reason I'm making such a song and dance about the TC Sentry is because I wanted to get the 14 Zool because it looked fantastic because of that key input. You get that additional input, put it in the loop, but also have like coming out of your tuner, have that going into the key input. Then it's both gating what's happening after the preamp in your amplifier, but it's also getting a signal read of your clean guitar signal, so it can gate based on where it should be gating. It's clever, like it's clever. And then I realised I've got the Sentry, and I was like, well, what the hell? Why has it got 2 inputs and 2 outputs? What's this all about? And the more I looked into it, I was like, oh, okay, well, I can do all of that and a ton more. So it's really just about getting it on the contender list, so someone like Ola England, who will do this stuff so much better than me, can do a shootout, just line them all up and see, what he thinks.
Ola, you're not listening, but if you are, please do a shootout.
Yeah.
And you will conclude that the ISP is the best, and that's the end of it.
Cool. I mean, if he is going to conclude that the ISP decimator is the best, surely he's going to conclude not the one you've got. Surely he's going to conclude it's the G string.
No, just the original. The original and best.
Cool. So should we watch this Herman Lee pile of shite?
I mean, yes.
Oh, there he is. There he is. That's actually one of the perks of not living in London anymore. I don't turn up to every fucking gig and just see Herman Lee standing at some pillar somewhere, just like trying to be away in the background.
See, when he was at the Black Cart when we played last year,
yeah.
Craig just walked up to him and asked him, do you like Suffocation? Just out of nowhere, like, do you like Suffocation? Like, it's just so off. Like, just, like, I didn't even say hello, I don't think. Just straight up to him, like, do you like Suffocation? And that was the end of it. I was killing myself laughing. I thought it was great. I mean, he might like death metal,
This
but...
is the guitar. What's going on here? We have a floating board for the wireless system. We have a GoPro for it. We got everything armed and ready. We've got no time to go through this guitar, but it's got to float on the thing.
So they've got float boards all over the guitar, so the guitar will float. So already you're not really doing an underwater guitar solo.
And they're trying to...
Modal Theory. We're just wasting time right now because we're waiting for Herman to be ready. So, you guys want to play anything else? Some fucking jazz?
It's amazing when you think about it. Like we're just wasting time. No, we're not. We're giving you a break. Every moment that Herman takes doing this is a moment you're not having to listen to Dragonforce.
We call this respite.
So he goes out and walks up to the pool.
Does the same lick.
Sounds like shit, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm sure. It's like watching somebody do a cover of a Dragonforce song, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I always say this, but like all these people, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's so damn good. He's so good." We live in a world where Andy James is a thing. We live in a world where Per Nilsson's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world where we always bring him up. We live in a world where Jason Richardson's a thing. This shouldn't be a thing. Is this moving into classic territory now? Is Herman Lee like a classic shredder now? Where it's all right, we can give him a bit of a pass because he's old.
No, I think it's just he was at the kind of the right place at the right time somehow. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was put on a pedestal that he probably shouldn't have been. But I think the same about the Avenged Sevenfold guitarists, and I don't mean that with any disrespect to either party, except complete disrespect to both parties.
That's a fair comment.
Really? Like, really, really, really? Because I remember watching videos of, like, fucking M Shadows playing stuff and it being horrendous, like, live, standing on a podium, just sloppy as fuck, and then, like, sliding whatever he had over the top, like a Groove Gear fret wrap or something, like, onto the fretboard so he had no strings ringing out and still making it sound terrible. And people being like, oh my god, he's a guitar idol, oh, that's just... No, he's not. He really isn't. He might be fairly fluent and not bad at guitar, but he's absolutely not on the same level as the guys who actually are, like, fucking ruining you when you watch them play live.
Probably wouldn't have achieved anything if he didn't have any tattoos and didn't wear makeup. There's a controversial one for you.
You might be right, to be honest.
Fuck being in tune with your bends, right? Why bother? Doesn't matter. Sam Topman getting as far away from it as he possibly can.
Hiding in the back at embarrassment.
I make jokes like this often, like, because I'm a big fan of, like, I love Joey Landreth at the moment. Like, he's a fantastic player. So therefore, the Brothers Landreth, great band. It's got Joey Landreth on guitar, but also Ariel Posen, who's just an excellent player. He is just an excellent player, and I've been to see him play solo, and he's great. But I always make the joke of, imagine having to be the guitar player in the Brothers Landreth that isn't Joey Landreth. It's the
intimidating.
Yeah, you could do the same with Avenged Sevenfold. You could be like, imagine having to be Zachy Vengeance in Avenged Sevenfold. Imagine having to be the guitar player that isn't Sinister Gates, like the popular one. It goes the complete opposite way in Dragonforce. Imagine having to be Herman Lee in Dragonforce. Sam Topman's got the winner there.
Yeah, he's also got the cooler signature.
Does he even have it? I don't. So you said he wasn't playing it. I don't think he has it anymore. That Iceman.
But it was cool. It was fairly interesting. Apart from the fact that Trem on it. I'll just correct myself as well. I said M Shadows when I was talking about guitarist. Obviously, it's whatever one of these guys that you know their names of, and I don't because I'm not interested.
You will, mate. You will.
That wasn't impressive when Michelangelo Batio done it. Why do you think it's cool now?
Right now, Herman Lee is in the swimming pool, and he's going to play the solo to the end of this song underwater.
No, he's not.
Taking the wireless unit off just to make sure that it doesn't get wet.
It's not even started, I'm cringing.
So he's playing Pachelbel's Canon.
Fucking shot. You tell people to back away from him.
Because he had the realisation that he can't actually play. Is that? I thought he might actually be playing something worth.
This is like something from Learn to Solo Over Basic Rock Backing Track number 2. For the record, we didn't watch this bit so far. It's the first time I've seen it, and Jesus fucking Christ, is this bad.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening to the podcast and not watching, I strongly urge you to go online and watch this and think, is this what sells? Is this a fair and accurate representation of virtuosic guitarists?
I'll give him this, right? I'll give him this. It's a cool visual, but you should never compromise the audio because of the visual.
But no, what a cool visual is like the Sum 41 video, In Too Deep, when Brownsound comes out the water with that fucking PRS and playing the solo. Obviously it's not when it's fucking tracked it, but it looks cool as shit.
Yeah.
That's on the fucking money. This is somebody with his head underwater, his guitar on floating boards, playing a terrible solo and looking like a fucking wank, surrounded by neckbeard cunts. Look.
I mean, there is... I was going to say we criticise Steel Panther for this, or that people try and criticise them, and I say, you go to a Steel Panther gig, half the people there are women. I was going to say there's not a single woman in that pool right now, but there is one down here actually. So, and she's as far away from him as humanly possible. So you're absolutely right. It's a collection of neckbeards.
It's severe cringe going on. It's the same idea as like people who think buying a motorcycle gets you women. No, it gets you sweaty men who like oil. Same as guitar. Unless you're somebody who fits that personality, and well, let's be honest, the whole point of Steel Panther is to fit the whole glam, sleaze rock image and vibe and atmosphere and community, and it does. It's like Motley Crue were good for it, and that's obviously the same kind of idea they want to go for.
Yep.
What is this? What are we? Let's watch this.
Oh, I think that was the singer. He's jumped in the pool. I think he's trying to kill himself.
I think he's proud of himself. He shouldn't be.
Well, I was going to say he is proud of himself because he's underwater, so he can't hear this monstrosity, but he's got in-ear monitors in.
The vocalist is there with his microphone, wireless, in the water. I'm serious. Go back a wee bit. Look! And if you're going to sing big fucking floral high notes over the top of stuff, you can at least sing the right note. That was horrendous, man.
That was, cringy.
Please just throw that overboard and yourself at the same time.
Right, I want to do this final section. I want to get it done in record time because it will be. Basically, I'm going to say something to you and you're going to shout at me and walk out. So, album club.
You didn't like a song?
No, I did. I really did.
That's good.
We talked about this.
Why would I show you then?
We talked about this last week.
Oh,
we talked about this last week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know where it's going. Talked about this last week. Not on the podcast. I really enjoyed it because I mentioned, as you know, the people listening don't know. Generally speaking, with album club albums, they're gym albums for me. I put them on in the gym. So I had to ask you what the name of the album was again, just before I went to get it on my Spotify ready, queued up and downloaded so I could listen to it. And you said, it's not really a gym album. And it worked for me. I liked it.
That's
liked
cool.
It had it was the second track, wasn't it? Second track.
Yeah.
There's a saxophone that kicks in like for like a lead
Wild.
part. Yeah, which I love the saxophone, and I love bands that are progressive in that respect and try new things.
I think there's a lot of bands who put brass sections in where they don't deserve it, but that album, every bit the sax fits.
Yeah. So on a further listen, I realised that saxophone isn't just there for the solo, like it's there
For the full song?
Yeah,
it's playing the
riffs. Which I just thought was
insane.
Just cool. Like it's just playing with sounds, isn't it? And just trying to create something. And that
fits with the story
JTK
guitar's great.
Well, the JTK Alchemy pedal that I've got, I got that because lots of people said that it kind of deadens a lot of the attack when you're picking, which gives you like quite a saxy sound. And actually, when you listen to the timbre of a saxophone and a distorted electric guitar, they're in the same vein. It's the same school of tone. So lots of respect because of that. That was the take home for me.
Cool, I like that. Why would I shout you then?
Well,
because
you've got to do act. So
right, so why would I shout?
Just keep going. We'll get there.
Okay, Act is fucking great. If you haven't listened to it, you're an idiot. Just every single song's got a hook. It's just catchy as fuck. It's great flow. I never really took the time to try and look into the story because you said it's quite hard to find any information on it if it as a concept album. But just put it on. The Last Epic, so good, so good. Everything about it, like it just shows like proggy bands. You don't need silly timings everywhere and overly complicated music to write fucking good music. It's like modern ABBA. Do you know what I mean by that? Like really, really good compositions, really strong. Everybody plays their part, but everything goes together. Some of the lead guitar work in it as well. Like, see, like as I listened to it again, because it's been a while since I'd listened, I'm like, Fucking hell.
That solo on Wailings from a Tall Building, which is the first track after that little intro bit.
Mm-hmm.
Belter of a solo. Absolutely belter of a solo.
You know who it reminded me of? Per Nielsen. It's like, it makes a lot of sense, but it's also obviously in a lot of different positions.
To me, the description, the commonality is like it's inspired by someone that's listened to a lot of keyboard players.
Yeah, definitely. It's not a typical guitar, fucking everybody knows the licks. I learnt that for a Shrapnel DVD kind of thing. It's like, I'm going to write a really cool, interesting melody and it's going to be everywhere, and I'm just going to work out how to play it on the guitar.
Okay. Do you have an album for me?
I can think of one.
You should.
Okay, you give me yours then.
No.
I'm not getting an album now.
You are. That's a closing thought, the album that I've got for you.
I don't even think... See if it's Avenged Sevenfold, you'll get strangled. Is it?
Yeah. Give me an... Alright, I'll do it. Okay. So, the album I'm going to give for you is City of Evil by Avenged Sevenfold. Because I want to make your life as miserable as possible.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to tell you this, you're looking through your phone now for like the worst thing you can possibly give me. Good.
I've had a few lined up that I've been like, it'd be really shit to give Levi these albums because I know he's going to hear it for minute one. But you've unleashed it now.
Okay, so City of Evil by Avenged Sevenfold. It's not brilliant from start to finish. The thing with Avenged Sevenfold is if you go one album before that, Waking the Fallen, I think, don't like it at all. If you go one album after that, don't like it at all. But that album, there are just a couple of tracks on it that are very good. And the highlight for me would be the song The Wicked End.
Right.
And as the title would suggest, it has a wicked end to it. It just goes full on Danny Elfman mode. And to me, I kind of like that about Sinister Gates. You can tell that Danny Elfman is a big influence on him and all of his compositions, which basically means Tim Burton is a big influence on him. It's maybe a little on the nose with this particular track. It basically is Danny Elfman. If it turned out that Danny Elfman Ghost composed the ending to that song, I would absolutely believe it.
I mean, considering Avenged Sevenfold are a money-backed boy band with guitars, it definitely could be the case that he was bought.
Yeah.
In my opinion, for anyone who wants to try and sue me.
So yeah, City of Evil. It was when you said how much you hated them. I wasn't going to do album club, and then it just popped into my mind.
So when you said you don't like it, I thought, how can I waste his day? How can I ruin his happiness?
We're friends, and that's part of how we operate, isn't it?
You don't realise how much worse you're going to get it back from now until eternity.
So I'm looking at this list.
I've actually been quite lenient this week. You're not getting a Porno Grind album.
It's literally like still now. The only thing that really jumps out at me, and Trashed and Scattered has quite a really cool melody in the lead guitar behind the chorus. That's quite cool. Some sweet picking in Seize the Day that when I was younger was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Sidewinder maybe. It's all about the Wicked End. Go on then, do it.
So you nearly got Alien Fucker, the first rape in space, which is a horrendous Porno Grind album. And they also do a cover of Eiffel 65's Blue, which we're going to listen to after this podcast, just to give you an idea of what you've just avoided. Literally just as a small warning. It's like a warning shot, like, don't make me do this, because there's much worse. Much worse. However, you are going to get a very heavy album, but it's a favourite of mine because it is so silly, but the music in it's fucking great. You are getting Only Tools and Corpses by Gore Rotted.
Okay, Only Tools and Corpses.
Only Tools and Corpses.
Okay, I like the name.
Fucking great. Including such beautiful song titles as Can't Fit Her Limbs in the Fridge, Zombie Graveyard Rape Bonanza. What else is on there? What other beautiful songs are on there? I'll let you figure that out yourself, because there's a couple of really nice ones on there.
I think the answer is none.
There's lots of really. There's a great song in it called To Catch a Killer, which is basically a serial killer sing along, and it's fucking great. No, like genuinely, the album is really good because it's got a lot of like, which shouldn't be but are really catchy bits, and there's a lot of humour in it. They clearly don't really take it too serious, and like, the lyrical content's pretty stupid for the parts you can make out, because most of the vocals are low gribbles that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I think it's great fun. I think there's a lot of really good riffs on the album, and you're going to hate every minute of it. And it brings me so much joy to know that.
So at the start of this, we said we don't hate each other yet. We've not killed each other yet. Who knows? Next time we sit in these chairs, maybe that'll be the moment.
I might not even be here.
Resentment.
I resign. I'm not doing the podcast anymore. Avenged sevenfold. Bin. No. I'll be fair. I'll give it plenty of listens. Plenty. Probably one at best.
I'd go easy on you and say just do the wicked end. Just the wicked end.
But that's not the point. Like, the point is that we do the full albums.
I know.
Because then it's a cop out and you're going to think, can I just listen to one of these songs from Go Rotted? And that's not going to happen. Sorry.
I mean,
you may end up liking it, by the way. There's a lot of cool riffs on it.
It's a good gym album, so
that's definitely a good gym album. You'll be in there like fucking, especially at the speed of some of the drum parts.
Cool. So as always, if you are watching this podcast on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Check us out on podcasting apps. You know, whatever Apple's apps.
Just comes through iTunes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you don't have an iPhone. How the fuck would you know that?
The work PDA phones are iPhones, and you can do it. You can't listen to it sadly because it's explicit, because they're locked down. But that's how they come through. They're on the podcasting app, which is through iTunes.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So however you listen to this, make sure you leave us a review, tell your friends, share, comments, suggestions, anything like that. We're always happy to hear them. We're always happy to take them on board, even though we didn't take any of them on board today. But we had a lot to talk about. We've gone for an hour and 10 minutes. So it's not
we just like to talk shit.
Yeah. Good fun times. Any closing messages, Mike?
Just the same as Levi said. If there's ever been any comments or messages or anything you've sent that haven't been picked up, please harass us. I'm sure there's one or two that I've missed. But otherwise, anything you want to fucking chat to us about, ask us to do, any specific topics you're into, as ever, harass us. Get us on board, we'll do it.
Cool.
You might enjoy it, you might not. But you might enjoy it, you might not. Fuck it, that's part of the fun.
And until next time.
Bye, fuckers.